What's going on, 49er faithful, 49er fan, 49er gang? This is your boy Niner Gang podcast back in the building. So definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on the post notification so I can keep you up to date on any and everything San Francisco 49ers. With that being said, let's get right on into it. I know I've been on a little hiatus. I've been gone for a minute, but now I'm back. We're going to do a quick preview on this Packers versus 49ers game that we are all dreading. Main reason specifically is just based on the fact that we have to start Brandon Allen. And that to me is not a good move. Here's my number one issue with that. And I've said this before, I'll say it again, and I keep my narrative because my narrative has facts behind it versus just, a statement. Kyle Shanahan don't fuck with black quarterbacks. And to me, that just doesn't make sense that you have Brandon Allen in the game who has no experience in the NFL, who's done nothing, who's never won any games, who's never shown flashes of anything, who has given you much of nothing, but just sat there and been the backup the whole time he's been here. But Brandon Allen starts over Josh Dobbs, a guy who's flashed on several occasions, who's actually won some games, who has actually moved around the NFL strictly based on the fact that certain quarterbacks were getting injured. So he was the one that they were interested in. So you got a guy that goes out here and shows you he can do some things. He definitely can, make some shit happen with his legs, all of that. And he's won a few games, but that guy isn't better than Brandon Allen. I don't know, man. It kills me. And this is, my main reason why I don't care for Kyle. I have watched him over the years. I've seen a lot of the things that he's done. I've watched the moves that he's made, watched the decisions that he's made. And there are lots of things that I do not care for. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people like him, once again, just strictly based on the fact that, he's keeping us relevant. And that's all that matters to 90% of these fans is relevancy. You just want to be relevant. A lot of y'all don't have a hunger to want a Super Bowl win. Because whenever we lose a Super Bowl, it's like, we'll get him next year. No. There's no frustration. There's no nothing. It's just, we'll get him next year. And I'm like, I guess, last time I checked, when you were a fan of a team, you wanted greatness for your team. You wanted them to reach the mountaintop. You wanted them to actually get there, get the job done, and be able to celebrate, be happy about it. Lots of these younger fans don't even know what seeing us win the Super Bowl is like, because if you were born, in 94, you're still too young to know. So it is what it is. But let's get on to the injury report here. As far as this game is concerned, of course, they'll give you the final injury report 90 minutes before the game. I believe our game is at 2:25 today. So there's definitely some stuff that we can talk about, but we got the full injury report here when it comes out to everybody. So for us, Tatum Bethune, knee out. Nick Bosa, hip out. Kevin Givens, groin out. Christian McCaffrey, he's playing. Trent Williams, they say he's questionable, but if he's questionable, he's most likely going. Jacob Cowan, concussion, out. John Feliciano, knee, questionable. Brock Purdy, right shoulder, out. Mooney Ward, out. And Kittle is playing. So that is the injury report for the 49ers side of things. You'll see a couple of people here, but we're going to scroll down to the bottom and get the final. So Jaire Alexander out. That bodes well for us because Jaire Alexander is a great defensive back. He's one of the top 5 guys in the league. Kenny Clark out. That's another good thing for us. Edgerrin Cooper. Kenny Clark playing. My bad. Didn't mean to get our hopes up. But Edgerrin Cooper, linebacker, is hamstring. He's out. Josh Jacobs, running back, quadricep / calf. He's playing. Looks like Elgton Jenkins. He's a guard / tackle. He's in. Josh Myers, center / guard. He's playing. Rasheed Walker, he's a tackle. He's playing. Evan Williams, hamstring. He's playing. And Kobe Wooden, shoulder. He's questionable. So anybody usually that's questionable when it comes to the situations like this is usually going to play. That's always how that works. You'll never really catch people that will, be questionable and actually not hit the field. That's always how it works. It's never been anything different. So when it comes down to, the injuries and whatnot for us, missing Dre Greenlaw, missing Mooney, no Huff, no Brock, you know, Trent questionable. This makes this game that much harder. You know what I mean? And we got to go out there and put the best product on the field and put the best people on the field. And right now, I'm sorry, I don't believe that Brandon Allen was the right move. I do believe that, unfortunately, today we may just take another L. We have a horrible run defense. Our defense is not the same as what it was. We have a first-year defensive coordinator in Nick Sorensen. Doesn't really look too much like he knows what he's doing, and he sounds like he's preaching the same bullshit Robert Saleh used to preach, that he don't want to blitz and he don't have to blitz, and blitzing don't really work. And that used to kill me about Saleh. I love him to death, but that used to kill me about him when he would always think that the front four is going to get it done. Here's the problem, people. The front four has no Nick Bosa. So in this game, you're going to have to see a lot of Leonard Floyd, and he's going to be the one that has to get doubled. He's going to be the one that has to hold the fort down while Nick Bosa is not here. He's going to be able to, shore up that defensive line and be the dude that becomes a wrecking ball. We got him because we needed help opposite Nick Bosa, and Floyd's done all right for us this year. He ain't been a world beater by any stretch of the imagination, but he's done all right. When you take a look at the numbers, when it comes down to it, you know what I mean? We got to take a look at everything. So let's go ahead and just take a look at the numbers for both teams, and we'll see what we got here. We'll start on the offensive side of the ball with the quarterbacks. Even though Brock is not currently playing, we do still have to talk about him because he was the main guy up until now. So Brock Purdy, 202 completions, 66% completion percentage, 2,613 yards. He's averaging 8.5 yards a throw, 261.3 yards a game, 13 TDs, 8 interceptions. Here's the biggest issue right here, people, and I want y'all to see this because this is the problem right here. 20 sacks. That man has been sacked 20 damn times. And you know why? It's because we have a shitty-ass O-line, and our team decides to never address it. Now, Dominic Pooney, great pickup. Aaron Banks, great. But we still have two problems on the O-line, and they're very big problems. And that is center and right tackle. Jake Brendel, worthless. Colton McKivitz, worthless. So we need to be able to figure out how to be able to capitalize on these things. You want to be better. And you can't be better when you're consistently just falling short with the offensive line. If your quarterback can't stand in that pocket, get through his reads, and get through him at least one more time, then you definitely don't have an O-line that's solid. Now, no one's going to have an all-star offensive line every single year. It just does not happen. It's not realistic. But you can have guys on there who are serviceable and who can damn sure get the job done. So I don't know what's going on, but, it's just rough, man. And the two players that I named, you can see they have not been playing up to snuff this year. So kind of is what it is. We run through with this makeshift O-line. 20 sacks is part of the results you get. I don't know how many sacks there'll be today. I hope not many, but it is what it is. So then when you scroll down, you take a look at the rushing. Jordan Mason has played 10 games. He has 703 yards. He's averaging 5.1 yards per carry. He has 3 touchdowns on the year. Brock Purdy is our next leading rusher with 267 yards rushing, 5.1 yards per carry. He's got 4 touchdowns on the year. Isaac Guerrero comes in third with 227 yards. He's got 1 TD on the year. He's averaging 6 yards a carry. Christian McCaffrey has played 2 games. He has 118 yards rushing, 3.7 yards per carry, no touchdowns. Here's the thing. Kyle was asked, hey, do you control how much Christian plays? Basically, in so many words, he was asking if he was a part of the running back rotation. And Kyle, as he always does, he denied it. He said, no, I'm not. I don't make those decisions, and all that. But here's the thing. Christian McCaffrey has played 90% of the snaps since he's been back off of that injury. Why is that? But you don't control anything. You don't control how much he's in the game. He's in the game all the damn time. And the first thing I said when Christian McCaffrey came back from that injury was, we've seen what Mason has done. We've seen what Garindo has to offer. We should be mixing it up with the running backs and not just relying solely on Christian McCaffrey. Work him in, give him carries, but give him about 10 to 15 a game. Don't give him an overabundance. And what has Kyle done? Completely neglected that, just as I thought. And he went in there and ran him into the ground. And he will continue to run him into the ground because he can't say no to Christian McCaffrey, just like our owner can't say no to Kyle when he fucks shit up. And it just doesn't make sense to me that you have a running back that you have to protect, but you can't protect it from himself because you're too busy worried about trying to win the game when you have two other backs who are viable and can do things. And you've seen it from these backs. The few times that Jordan Mason came in the last game that we played where we took that L to the Seahawks, he had big runs. But Kyle just doesn't see fit to do the running back by committee thing. When he first got here, he didn't have a specific running back. We didn't get McCaffrey till a couple of years back. So he never had a specific guy. He just ran with the guy who had the hot hand. And yes, that was at one time Matt Breida. It was one time Raheem Mostert. At one time it was Tevin Coleman. At one time it was who else did we have? Raheem Mostert. All of these people, you know what I mean? These are the guys that you would have wanted on your team doing things to be able to make things happen. But Kyle would switch it up when one back wasn't necessarily working. But with Christian, he's so enamored with him and he feels like he presents such a big threat that he has to force him on the field. And you don't. You do not have to force him on the field. You can bring him in and work him in. And at the same time, it confuses the defense. If I'm preparing for Christian McCaffrey all week because I know Kyle's going to try to, utilize this guy on a consistent basis, I don't have time to prepare for Isaac Garindo or Jordan Mason. And I don't know what they can do. The only thing I can do is go back to the film and see what they do when they're in there. And it's not always the case. So at this point, it is what it is. We just kind of have to deal with things the way that they are and know that Kyle is going to continually run Christian McCaffrey into the ground and doesn't necessarily give two shits on Christian McCaffrey getting hurt again, because that's what's unfortunately going to wind up happening. He's going to wind up, just doing what he normally does. So Christian McCaffrey is definitely going to be the starter. He's going to get the bulk of the carries. The other thing is when it comes to our backfield, stop putting Debo in the backfield. Just knock it off. They know it's a run. They load the box, and you continue to still run with Debo Samuel for some ungodly reason. They load the box. They know it's a run, and you don't even switch to play. And this goes back to another thing. So Kyle was asked in so many words, and everything I'm telling you, I'm paraphrasing. Of course, you can go back and watch the videos and get and get exactly what was said. But I deciphered things. I'm not stupid. I've watched this guy for years, so I picked up on some cues, and I see when he's lying. So he was asked by Grant Cohn, basically if he lets Brock Purdy audible, and he basically said that because each play has probably about maybe 2 to 5 different options, that he doesn't let Brock Purdy audible. He basically said you have several different options. If you don't see what you like, then no. You have different ways to run that play, so that's what you do. So when you see them up at the line of scrimmage and they're going can, that means they're switching to another one of the plays, or they're running that same play, but they're switching up how they run it. Here's the thing. Kyle's become very predictable over the years. People now have seen what he does. The scheme that he runs is being run all over the league. So it's not hard to defend anymore. There's not that confusion. You know what I'm saying? There's not that frustration that Luke Kuechly had some years ago when we played Carolina. And he was like, I just don't know what the hell's going on out there. Like, they're moving so much that I can't figure out who's who and who's doing what. That's no longer the case. Kyle has been figured out. They know what you're doing, sir. So now, if you're the supposed genius that everybody, that moniker, that tag that everybody gives you, then you need to come up with some new plays. You need to come up with some different shit. And you need to figure out how to be able to make it happen, because a lot of these receivers do not get separation. And that's unfortunate to say about our receivers, but that's a lot of the things that I notice on the plays when I see them. They're not getting separation. They're consistently failing on that. So it kind of becomes whatever, it kind of basically becomes, it is what it is. You don't get much. So it's frustrating, but we just have to deal with the fact that this is the head coach and he ain't going nowhere because Jed York loves his dirty draws. So we're going to continue to deal with the ineptitude of a head coach who can't get out of his own way, unfortunately, until I don't know when, So it just makes my seasons of watching football more dull and mundane because I already know there's nothing left. You know what I'm saying? Last time we went to the Super Bowl, the next year we were decimated by injuries, just like we've been decimated by injuries this year, and we didn't go anywhere. We didn't even make playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Right now, the Cardinals are atop the NFC West. It's still a tight race. We've still got, 10 games left, or should I say 7 games left. So we've got to make the best of these last 7 games. I already had said that we needed to go at least 8-2 or 9-1 in these last 10 games. Well, we definitely started off 0-1, which wasn't something I was anticipating, but we're going to have to go out here to Green Bay and make this happen. Lambeau Field is, they've showed a picture of it already. It's definitely is ridiculously freezing cold. And I guarantee you there's most likely going to be snow there. So if you are going to the game, bundle up. I mean, get as warm as you possibly can, as it is going to be ugly out there. Just in terms of weather, especially if you're not a cold weather type person and you don't live in it, it's definitely going to be a shock to your body. So make sure you stay warm if you are going to the game. But the next thing on the list is we got to look at our receivers. When we come down and we look at them, that's there. There we go. Leading receiver, Jauan Jennings. He's played every game except one. He was out with that, I think it was a hip injury. So basically, Jauan Jennings, 588 yards. This man is averaging 14 yards, per catch. He's got 4 touchdowns. Kittle right behind him, 560. He's got 7 touchdowns. Deebo Samuel behind him too, 490. He's got 1 touchdown. BA is out for the year, but he only had 374 yards. Next guy, Ricky Pearsall, 132 yards and a TD. So then you go down the list and it just gets, of course, lower. But at the end of the day, we only had 13 TDs in the past game, and 13 TDs through 10 games is just not going to cut it. It's not going to allow us to be able to do what we want to do, and this definitely isn't the way that we want it to be, when it came down to the offense. So honestly, we're going to have to, rely on a bunch of the receivers, and main people that we're going to have to rely on is going to be Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Ricky Pearsall, and Jauan Jennings. Those are the 4 receivers you're going to see targeted mostly. If it's not one of those 2 guys, if it's not one of those 4 guys, you'll probably see either Juice or Christian McCaffrey catching the ball out the backfield. But we don't really have many options. You know what I'm saying? Ronnie Bell, full-on liability. Chris Conley, I mean, he's sometimey. You know what I mean? And he comes in and does it when he needs to, but we don't really rely on him like that. So outside of those 4 dudes, those are going to be the guys that we got to rely on and be able to hope and pray that they can keep things going. Steve-O says, minute and 40 seconds, the rain after the game, 6 mile per hour wind, snow 3 days. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So definitely that weather out there is ugly. Only been up to Wisconsin once when my uncle was in the military and had to shovel my way out the front door, literally, because the snow was that high. It was crazy. But either way, when it comes down to it, we are going to need those 4 dudes to step up, show and show out, and make sure that we're good on our end of things, because those are going to be the only guys that we have. So hopefully they're going to be able to stay warm, make things happen, and do what we need to do, especially out there in that frozen tundra. So then you go ahead and you look on the defensive side of the ball. Of course, same guy that always leads us in tackles, the same guy doing, everything, All-Pro Fred, Hall of Fame Fred, 78 tackles. He's got 1 sack, 3 TFLs, 6 passes defense, 2 interceptions, and 4 forced fumbles. So, Fred being Fred, we already know that's what he does. Next guy up, the man who got broke the fuck off, who got his money, Diamador Lenore, or as my boy TD called him one day, Domador. um, but basically, saying 61 tackles. He's got 1 tackle for a loss, 6 passes defense, 2 interceptions. Fred has 2 interceptions as well, but he's got a TD on his. And Diamador's got 1 forced fumble. Next guy up is Devondre Campbell, 59 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 passes defense. Malik Mustafa, he's been playing instead of Talanoa Hufanga, who's been out. If anybody has any info on Talanoa Hufanga and when he may or may not come back, please let me know, because I've heard nothing, and I've heard no one ask about him at all. Commentators almost all forgot that he exists. Our beat writers don't even mention him. So I really need to know what the fuck is up with Huff. Next up, of course, you got Jair Brown and then Malik Mustafa. Bosa is out this game. So he's our leading sack guy with 7 sacks. Leonard Floyd is right behind him with 4.5. Malik Collins has 4. Okwanu has 3. Kevin Gibbons got 3.5, but he's out. And then after that, you don't see really much of any action from anyone else. Renardo Green and Isaac Gidham both have 5 passes defense to go with Mooney Ward, but Mooney hasn't played in a while. After the unfortunate passing of his daughter, I'm pretty sure he'll be back next week. Because I think he was there and he was at team meetings and whatnot, but he wasn't actually physically going to play. So right now we're just dealing with a lot, as far as injuries and whatnot. So we're going to have to rely on the same guys on defense, but we're just going to have to ask Leonard Floyd to be as Nick Bosa-esque as he can to be able to create disruption in that Packer backfield. Hopefully we can get some insights from Devondre Campbell on the things they like to do, since he was there for years before he first came to us this year. So we can definitely utilize that information when it comes down to it. So we have to rely on the same guys we have to rely on defense on a consistent basis. Do hope they give D Winters a little bit more time and he could be better with his angles on tackling. But when it comes to pass pro, we need Winters in there and not Devondre Campbell. Devondre Campbell's full on liability pass defense, should I say. Everybody knows that. So DB is going to have to step up. We're going to have Renardo Green step up. Without any Mooney out there, we're probably going to unfortunately have to rely on Isaac Yadam. I don't know how you say his name, whatever the case may be. But it's rough. It's rough right now. We got a lot of injuries. We still have no Drake Greenlaw. Once again, we still have no Huff. So there's a variety of people that are missing that we just don't have, and this team is not at full strength. Trying to scrape by and get through. Hopefully this can be a win. But that's all for the 49ers side of things. But we're going to jump over and take a look at the Packers side of things and see what they got as far as, their stuff is concerned. So, of course, you got Jordan Love. He is playing. He's missed some games this year. He's only played 8 games. Malik Willis has played 4. And Jordan Love is going to be starting this game. He is back from injury, if I'm not mistaken. So 62.3 completion percentage, 2,081 yards. He's got 16 TDs and 11 interceptions. He's only been sacked 8 times. And then you look at Willis, if he has to come in, not much difference, but difference between him and Love is he's got 3 TDs, no interceptions. He's been sacked 5 times. So, when you're limited in how much you play and how long you're in the game, it's easier to minimize the mistake, so to speak. Josh Jacobs is their leading rusher right now. 176 carries, 838 yards, 6 big runs, 4 touchdowns on the year. And then there's a really big gap in the drop off to the next guy, Emmanuel Wilson, 271 yards. He's only got 1 TD. So, Jacobs is going to be their main guy that runs the ball, and we always have to be ready and prepared for that. Right now, leading them is Jaden Reed in receiving, 38 catches, 643 yards, 4 TDs. And then you got Dontavion Wicks. He's got Actually, 192 yards, but he's got 4 touchdowns. So that's probably going to be a guy we're going to have to look out for. They got their tight end, Tucker Kraft. He's got 5 TDs. Christian Washington, Romeo Dobbs are still there. So we've got a slew of people that we got to worry about, so that tells me we really got to worry about 5 people. So then in that instance, when you say you have to worry about 5 people, then that means that you're definitely going to be in nickel a lot. Because you're going to want, your 2 linebackers to be able to cover whoever else they send out there. Because if they go into a 3 receiver set, you're going to have Green. What's going on, Manny Shavers? You're going to have Green, Yidam, and Demo out there. And I really don't understand why they don't allow Demo to just roam and go wherever he wants, because he is that damn good. And we did pay him all that money. But then again, it's the same situation. They just this is the issue that I feel is plaguing the 49ers, complacency. Like, you want so bad and so much to, stick to what you do that you won't come out of it to be able to allow yourself to get better. See, it'd be different if you guys said, okay, you know what, let's see how he does, kind of roaming around and making sure that, the star receiver doesn't make plays. Let's see if that actually works. At least try it. They won't even try it. They get stuck in their gun. No, we're not doing that. We're not blitzing. We don't want to let Demo roam. We don't want to let Mooney roam with the best wide receiver. None of that. And that becomes that's at your own peril. That's a detriment to yourself, because you don't allow these players to go out there and show you what they can really freaking do and give their options things. Give them options in different ways to go out there and find, ways to shut down some of the best receivers in the league. So, you put a DK Metcalf on an Isaac Yiadom, they're going to cook him. You see what I'm saying? So it's different, if you do that and you're not going up against some crazy star receivers, but you got to be better about it. So those are going to be the guys that we're going to have to look out for as far as their receiving goes. When it comes to their defense, their leading sack guy is, of course, Rashawn Gary, and we all know who he is. He can come wrecking off that end. He probably gonna be over there with Colton McKivitz eating him alive. So then when you come and you look at it, the rest of it, all of their sacks are kind of split all over the place. Devontae Wyatt has 3. Of course, Gary's got the 3.5, but then you look around, Preston Smith, he's got 2.5. Kingsley has 1.5. Edgerrin Cooper, a linebacker, has 2.5. Like, they kind of send everybody. Just looking at these numbers and statistics, everybody goes after the quarterback. So they blitz and they bring these guys off the edge. They bring them from the linebacking group. They bring them from the DBs, safeties. It just doesn't matter. Whoever is available is who they're going to go ahead and go with to rush that passer. So it doesn't mean anything to them. Eric Wilson, their linebacker, has 7 TFLs, which is, that's good for them. Xavier McKinney, the safety, he's got 7 passes defense on the year and 6 interceptions. So we're going to definitely have to be mindful throwing the ball anywhere near him, because he's going to be on top of it. But you got your usual suspects, your Kenny Clarks. They've got, a couple of different dudes here that can do their thing. His guy, Quay Walker, is definitely going to be a guy that we're going to have to look out for. But you know what I mean? Hey, what's going on, Jet? So it's different when it comes down to it. You got to look at everything as a whole. And when it comes to the game, it's extremely simple. Jordan Love is going to be out there. A lot of people have, kind of talked about his gunslinger mentality and what he can and can't do and all this stuff. That's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Having Alexander out helps us big time. So it's a situation where we have to go out there into the frozen tundra, be able to stay warm, be able to stay focused, and go out there and get this W. We typically beat the Packers. We usually don't have a lot of issues when we play them. But with all the injuries that we have, with the freezing cold temperatures, with the head coach who keeps his head up his ass and not on his shoulders, there's a lot going on. I'm hoping for the best today too. I'm with you on that one. I'm hoping for the best, but I don't think this is going to go well. I think we're unfortunately going to take another L in this game, only because we're just not the same team this year. Something this year doesn't feel right. I want to be wrong. I want us to win this game. I would love for us to beat the Packers and try to get back on, onto the winning side of things. But I just don't have any faith in Brandon Allen. I'm sorry. I don't believe this guy's going to go out there and win us a game. And with it being a cold game like this, we're going to probably try to run the ball more often than not. Here's the problem with that. Kyle, if you're going to run the ball because you don't want Brandon Allen throwing too much, why don't you actually switch up the backs? Use all three. They're all going to be active. Use all three of those backs. Hit them with a variety of backs. Don't allow them to key in on just Christian McCaffrey. If you do use that, it'll help you because then they don't know how to prepare. They're thinking, okay, McCaffrey's back. He's going to be the main guy. We don't have to worry about the other two dudes. Boom, we're good. Now, can you possibly prepare for Jordan Mason? Yes, you can, because you have, I think about 9 games to be able to watch of what he's done this year, how he runs. So that's easy. You can't prepare for Guerrero. You've only seen him in moments. You haven't really seen enough of him to be able to truthfully prepare for a guy. So when you hit them with things that they don't understand and they don't really know about and they're confused on, that'll actually make it easier. But once again, Kyle gonna be Kyle. So this game is going to be a rough one. I think Mitch Wisnowski is back. I didn't see him on that injury report, so hopefully Mitch will be back out there punting the ball. Let's pray to God Moody can actually make some field goals, because I think we're probably going to have to kick several of them just today. So let's hope that Moody is good in cold weather and he's able to be out there and just do what he has to do. He did play at Michigan, so cold weather is nothing new. You know what I mean? It could be it's rough to kick in cold weather because the ball is like a rock, and that's really hard on your foot. But at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do. You got to go out there, do your job, make those kicks, and help us win these games. So that's all I got for you guys. Oh, Mitch is on IR. Okay, so we still got the other dude punting, but he wasn't bad when he punted last game. Hopefully they bring Mitch off IR. I think it was his back that was killing him. With Purdy, it's his shoulder. With Bosa, it's the oblique and the hip. With Dre Greenlaw, he's still coming from the, I believe it was Achilles tear. No information on Huff. And basically, Mooney will probably be back next week. So we got a lot of guys missing, but our team, next man up mentality. So they got to go out there and figure it out and figure out ways to win games. And, hopefully we can scrape it to the playoffs in the wild card spot, because I don't believe that we're going to win our division not playing the way we've been playing. We haven't even had a 2-game win streak. We've had 2-game losing streaks, but not even a 2-game win streak. And that's the rough part. And shit, it's rough when the punters, kickers on IR and everybody else and their mama is on IR. But kind of is what it is. We got to go out there. We still got to play football. We can't continue to have the excuse of, oh, this person wasn't in, oh, that person wasn't in. It's football. There are injuries. This shit happens, and you got to keep moving forward. So there is nothing you can really do. It's going to happen throughout the year. Most guys, even in the league that lasts throughout the whole season, they're playing with some type of injury. Something hurts. A knee, an elbow, a shoulder, something. Nobody's body is at 100% the whole way through the season. But this, the whole point is to be able to keep your body maintenance enough to a point where you don't have to wind up dealing with, the negative things and the negative side effects of all these things going on. So we'll see what happens. Definitely would love to see our guys get out there and get this W and not be concerned with anything else. But at the end of the day, this game to me, unfortunately, is going to be an L. Once again, don't have faith in Brandon Allen by any stretch of the imagination. I would have rather have started Josh Dobbs. It would have made me feel a little bit more comfortable. But it is what it is. Head coach is going to go with who he's going to go with. And that's just what it is. So that's all I got for y'all this morning. Thank y'all so much for tuning in and hanging out with your boy for a bit. If you came in at the end, go ahead and rewatch. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend. Do appreciate anybody who comes in and hangs out with me. But thank y'all so much. Everybody stay up, stay faithful, be blessed. Have a wonderful day. Peace.